I'm outside the home of an old buddy of mine, James Eagan Holmes, the Joker, who, besides being a mass murderer, for all intents and purposes, was a pretty great guy. Now, it's probably the furthest from the truth. I didn't know him personally. But he unleashed unspeakable horror on unsuspecting people just trying to enjoy a movie and their families. And when you look at the details of what actually happened, some of the injuries, it's horrific beyond belief. Now, some of these apartments, like this one right here, this looks new. But the one, the James Eagan Holmes, 1690 Paris, right off of Peoria and Colfax, the one that he inhabited, still stands. An old building in a part of town that could use a little love, to put it nicely. But I was actually here, I don't know if it was the day after, but within a couple days of the incident back in 2012. I came down here, and he lived on the top floor, number 10, and his window was police taped off. It was boarded up because, remember, he left booby traps for police officers. He left a booby trap for police officers, so explosives in the apartment, all this stuff, and none of it was detonated. They were able to disassemble it all. But as I was here, some people, and I was looking at writing about it at the time. I didn't have a functioning camera, so I was looking at writing about it. But some people were just moving out. And this is the hospital, the slash education center, the Ann Schultz hospital campus, where he did his University of Colorado. That's where he did his studies. I don't know, internship, I don't know what goes on in neuroscience. So he was right there. He had, just a very short commute to his studies on a daily basis. But one has to ask himself, why would he choose to live here? Because he didn't have to. This is a part of town that's known for its violence. Go look at old Cops episodes. There was a drive-by shooting that happened off of Peoria and Colfax. A lot of violence has happened over here, and they're trying to revitalize it. It looks like they tore down another apartment or whatever it was that was here. But I think it was actually a Mexican restaurant. But for somebody that already obviously had a fragile psyche, living in an environment like this, it probably didn't do him any favors. I mean, it could be worse. I don't feel unsafe here. It's just a little aged, a little run down. And we talk about, in terms of Denver, a history of violence. You have to remember, James Eagan Holmes was from La Jolla, California, and it doesn't get any nicer than that. North of San Diego, a suburb, right along the coast. La Jolla Cove, where sea lions or seals frolic. It just doesn't get any more beautiful. And to go from that to this, I mean, that's quite a change. And I noticed the media really didn't harp on that. And so I was just reading today that a psychiatrist who had interviewed Holmes, who had gone through all the court documents and studied this very intensely, he came to the conclusion that Holmes was schizophrenic. And there was another individual that he worked with, not schizotypal, which, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, is a psychotic disorder. And then his associate came to the conclusion that Holmes was schizophrenic. Well, you know that I'm dealing with a schizophrenic right now, a neighbor that I believe is schizophrenic, and they say that they're rarely violent. Well, my neighbor definitely has the potential for violence, and Holmes became extremely violent. And he even mentioned to the psychiatrist that he'd be interested, I don't have the exact quote, but if he ever got out of there, he would likely kill again. He admitted that, which is kind of skin crawling. Hey, there's an In-N-Out burger. How about that? And here is the Aurora Century Theater, where the unspeakable atrocity took place. A theater that I would frequent after the fact. After it reopened, I frequented it, and they did nothing. Believe me, they did nothing in terms of security measures. You're still a sitting duck in there. You're in those theaters. There's no escape route for most of them. I'm assuming the same layout as before. I didn't get it on video, but something happened. I hit the wrong button or something. But I mentioned to the girl that an unspeakable atrocity happened almost 9 years ago here at this theater. And it wasn't the latest Tom Cruise movie. It wasn't The Mummy. It was James Eagan Holmes. And nothing had really been done in terms of escape exits. You're still like a sitting duck in that theater.
You want to contact our public relations department? All right.
Okay, because I've frequented this theater after the fact, and I just noticed that, you know, nothing was really done in terms of exit routes. You know, you're still like a sitting duck in there, you know, so I just hope that you guys will put those in place at some point. Okay, thank you very much. And she gave me a little notice, and I just noticed one of the stipulations, it says weapons are prohibited. Yeah, I'm sure that same notice was given to James Eagan Holmes, and you know, I'm really sure if somebody's looking to undertake a mass murder, that's going to stop him. And oh, and she also said the police are only there on weekends, security's only there on weekends.